So for me, like, part of the reason why it's important to make a documentary about MLK is because MLK was an apostate. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He preached something that pretended to be the gospel, but wasn't the gospel at all. And I have a concern that many people believe his idea of what the gospel is. And so it's necessary to warn you that, no, that's not the gospel at all. The social gospel is not the gospel. And it's necessary to then find out, okay, well, what is a true gospel? Well, what does that mean? And my hope is that people will turn to Christ and worship God and not men. Like, we need to stop putting men on pedestals. I don't care who that man is. One of my favorite forefathers, or I guess American founding fathers, is Patrick Henry for many reasons, but I'm not even going to put him on a pedestal. I'm going to acknowledge his wisdom. I'm going to acknowledge how he had things more right than some of the other founding fathers, but I'm not going to worship the man, or, you know what I mean? You acknowledge his faults, and the fact is some had more faults than others. But this whole idea of, like, I mean, it violates the very first commandment. I am the Lord your God who led you out of Egypt. You shall have no other God before me. And many of us, we want so badly for some party or for some politician or for some historical figure to be the person who we follow. We want so badly to be led. And to the point that you so eloquently made earlier, let Christ lead you. It's really that simple. Let Christ lead you. But the reality of it is, we want so badly for somebody to be the enemy. We want so badly for somebody to be the hero. If you're a Republican, you want it to be the Democrats. It's like, as somebody who studies history, you realize there were great Democrats historically. There were great Republicans historically. There were terrible Republicans historically, especially in the 1860s. And you realize that history is not very partisan. It's just not. And of course, like, the modern iteration of the Republicans are far better than the modern iteration of the Democrats. That goes without saying. But to the extent that you kind of cluster yourself into this Republican good, Democrat bad, you miss a whole lot. And so, again, many of us want for somebody to be the enemy. Well, what happens if you make Biden the enemy and Biden loses the election? Then who now is the enemy? That doesn't mean that you don't engage politically. That doesn't mean that you don't vote. You just are aware that my battle is not against flesh and blood. It's a much deeper and bigger war going on. And there's literally Satan who wishes to steal, kill, and destroy us. And so we had better pay attention to who the real hero is, which is Christ, and who the real villain is, which is Satan.
I'm trying to get into an optimistic place. And, you know, part of what is getting me there is that I do think we're landing the plane. The plane is landed. We're taxiing into the runway, actually. But I'm going to go all the way back to where we started, talking about Kevin Samuels, kind of the manosphere. I do think what makes me a tiny bit optimistic is that men are starting to realize that maybe we need to align more. And it can't be a skin color thing. It has to be a male leadership thing. There's a ruggedness to conversation that has to happen in order for truth to prevail. This entire conversation we just had here, I think men will enjoy it and understand it more. Women want people to be more comfortable. They don't want to say things. They don't want to acknowledge truths that are really uncomfortable. That, like, yes, slavery was bad, but maybe it made a little bit of sense then. And then not just that it made sense, but that, wow, look at America. They had such biblical values. They wrote a Constitution and a Bill of Rights that upended and uprooted slavery and allowed a biblical worldview to prevail as it relates to ending any sort of racialized slavery. But I think only men can have the kind of conversations that will uproot this mentality, this Marxist mentality that has taken root and has destroyed the church and has led to all these false gospels and false prophets. And I think your documentary here, MLK, the MLK project, I think could end up being a very important voice and lead to a very important conversation. Hats off to you, Chad, for taking on the project, for doing it at such a high level, for going after a real icon where there's risks. I mean, people are going to be very upset about you and this documentary and the truth that you're exposing. But I want to support it. I want to thank you for coming to Nashville and spending the time with me to have this conversation and to show me a nice little good chunk of the MLK project. I hope that you, the audience, have enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chad, for the visit. We'll see you next time.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free.